AITA for cutting off my family after my sister publicly mocked my miscarriage? I am 32 years old. I work as an event coordinator for a marketing company in Chicago, and I never thought I would end up completely cutting contact with my family. But here I am, and the truth is I don't regret it even a little bit. All of this started about a year and a half ago when my younger sister, Jenna, announced she was pregnant. I, being the well-meaning fool I was at the time, offered to organize her baby shower because I thought that's what big sisters are supposed to do. No, wait, let me back up a bit because you need to understand the whole context for this to make sense. I have been married to my husband, Ethan, for about 6 years, and ever since we got married we started trying to have kids. You know, the normal way, without pressure at first. The first few months were like, well, these things take time, no big deal. But after a year we started to get worried. We went to see a specialist, did all the tests, and it turned out I had some fertility issues. According to the doctors, it was nothing that couldn't be overcome, but it was enough to make things difficult. We went through treatments, injections, all that invasive and exhausting stuff that no one really prepares you for, both physically and emotionally. After about a year and a half of trying with medical help, I finally got pregnant. We were euphoric, literally crying with happiness. We started planning everything. We bought a few baby things from Crate and Barrel, even though we knew it was early, but we couldn't help ourselves. And then, at 11 weeks, I had a miscarriage. I don't know if you've gone through that or know someone who has, but it is devastating in a way you can't really explain. It's like all that hope and the future you had built in your mind just vanishes, and on top of that, your body feels like it betrayed you in the worst way possible. Ethan was amazing through all of that, honestly. He held me when I couldn't even get out of bed, but it was incredibly hard for both of us. After that, we decided to take a break. We needed to process everything emotionally before even thinking about trying again. Basically, we spent about 6 months trying to heal, going to therapy, the whole 9 yards. My family knew all of this, you know what I mean? My mom Diane, my dad Richard, and especially Jenna, they all knew what we had been through. Jenna was relatively understanding at the time, meaning she sent me texts asking how I was, that kind of thing. But looking back, I should have realized she was never really good at listening or putting herself in other people's shoes. She was always the center of attention in the family, the baby, the one who got everything she wanted, while I was the responsible one who had to have everything under control and help everyone. That dynamic never really changed, not even when we became adults. Anyway, Jenna got pregnant when she was 27. I was 31 at the time, and obviously everyone in the family was super excited. She had married her college boyfriend about a year prior, and everything was very fast and easy for her. She basically got pregnant on the first try, and I tried to be happy for her. I really did. But I'm not going to lie, part of me was jealous and hurt because, why was it so easy for her and so hard for me? But I pushed those feelings down because I didn't want to be that bitter person who can't be happy for her own sister. You know? When Jenna asked me to organize her baby shower, she told me she trusted me because I work in event planning, and she knew I would do something beautiful. And being the big sister who always wants to do everything perfectly, I said yes immediately. What she didn't know, and what no one in my family knew at that moment, was that I had just found out I was pregnant again. I was about 4 weeks along when Jenna asked me, and Ethan and I had decided not to tell anyone until at least the first 12 weeks had passed. After what happened last time, we were terrified it would happen again, and we didn't want to go through the pain of having to tell everyone if something went wrong. So there I was, secretly pregnant, dealing with morning sickness and first trimester exhaustion, organizing the perfect baby shower for my sister. And when I say perfect, I mean perfect because Jenna had a very specific vision of what she wanted straight off a Pinterest board. She wanted an adventure awaits theme, like woodland animals but chic, with sage green and gold colors, gourmet catering, specific games, and handmade decorations. I literally spent 2 months planning every detail, finding the perfect venue, hiring the catering she wanted, which wasn't cheap by the way for 50 people, making centerpieces myself because the ones we found weren't exactly right, and coordinating with all the guests. Everything. The day of the baby shower arrived, and I was exhausted. I had gone about 3 days with almost no sleep finishing the final details, and on top of that, the pregnancy nausea had me feeling terrible. But I secretly took my prenatal vitamins, put on my best face, and made sure everything was perfect for Jenna. The event was in a beautiful rented garden space in a nearby suburb. The decorations turned out gorgeous, and the food smelled amazing. When Jenna arrived and saw everything, her face lit up, and she hugged me, saying it was exactly what she had dreamed of. And I felt good, you know? Like all the effort had been worth it. The first 2 hours went well. People arrived, we ate, played some games, and Jenna was happy opening gifts. I was there making sure everything flowed smoothly, taking photos and coordinating with the staff to bring out the cake at the right moment. My mom was there helping a little but mainly socializing. My dad was in a corner talking to other dads and uncles about sports probably. And Jenna's best friend Sophie was basically glued to Jenna the whole time. I always kind of disliked Sophie, to be honest. She's one of those super dramatic people who always has to be the center of attention and make unnecessary comments about everything. But since she was Jenna's best friend, I was always cordial with her. Then we reached the moment to open gifts. Jenna was in her element, super excited opening each thing, and Sophie was sitting next to her making comments about every gift like, "Oh, how cute is this?" Or, "Oh, I got her something much better than that." That kind of thing. I was standing nearby taking photos and making sure someone was writing down who gave what for the thank you cards. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Sophie turns to me and says loudly, loud enough for about half the people there to hear, "Hey Madeline, weren't you supposed to have a baby too? What happened with that?" The place went silent. You could hear a pin drop. I froze with my phone in my hand. Before I could say anything, Sophie continued with that fake, saccharine smile she has, saying, "Oh right, you lost the baby. Gosh, that's so sad. And you still can't get pregnant after all this time. It must be so frustrating to be here celebrating Jenna's pregnancy when you can't have your own kids. Right?" I literally couldn't breathe. It felt like I had been punched in the stomach. I looked at Jenna, expecting her to say something to shut her friend up, to defend me, anything. But Jenna just sat there with an awkward expression. And then, and this is what broke my heart the most, she just shrugged and said, "Well, Sophie, she's not wrong. It has been difficult for Madeline." As if she were justifying what Sophie had just done. As if she were okay with her friend publicly humiliating me about the worst moment of my life at an event I had poured my heart into for her. Some people at the baby shower looked visibly uncomfortable, others looked away, and I felt like everyone was looking at me with pity. That feeling was worse than anything else. My hands were shaking, and I knew if I stayed 1 second longer, I was going to break down crying in front of everyone. I walked up to Jenna and said quietly, "I need you to ask Sophie to leave. Now." Jenna looked at me as if I were the one being irrational and said, "Madeline, I'm not going to kick my best friend out of my baby shower. It's fine. What she said is true anyway, it's not a big deal." And that was when something inside me simply shattered. I told her, "You know what? I hope you have fun at your baby shower. I'm leaving." She said, "Wait, you still have to pay the other half of the catering deposit." I let out a humorless laugh and told her, "After what just happened, are you seriously asking me that? Pay for it yourself." And I left just like that. I walked out of that garden with people still staring at me. I got in my car and drove home, sobbing the whole way on the interstate. Ethan was home because he had decided to skip the baby shower. They aren't really his scene. When he saw me arrive in tears and I told him what had happened, he was furious. I had never seen him so angry. He hugged me and told me he couldn't believe my own sister had let that happen, that Sophie was a horrible person, and that no one had the right to humiliate me like that, especially after everything I had done for that event. That night, Ethan went on Facebook and wrote a public post tagging Sophie, saying something along the lines of, "What you did today was incredibly cruel. Publicly shaming someone about their fertility struggles, and their loss is a form of harassment. If you don't remove your posts making light of my wife's situation and issue a public apology, we will be exploring our legal options." I guess Sophie got scared because the next day, she had deleted everything and posted a generic apology like, "If I offended anyone yesterday, I'm sorry, it wasn't my intention." But she never contacted me directly, never offered a real apology. What did happen is that my mom called me the next day, absolutely livid. She was yelling about how I dared to abandon my sister's baby shower and leave her with a catering bill she couldn't pay, that Ethan had been horrible to Sophie on social media, and that I was being dramatic and vengeful. I said, "Mom, did you hear what Sophie did to me? Did you see that Jenna didn't defend me?" And my mom said, "Well, yes, Sophie shouldn't have said that, but you know how she is. She always says things without thinking." And it was Jenna's special day. She didn't want to create drama. You made it worse by leaving like that. I couldn't believe it. My own mother was making excuses for them. I told her I wasn't going to pay a cent for that catering, that Jenna could ask her dear friend Sophie to cover it if she supported her so much, and that I wasn't going to apologize for anything because I hadn't done anything wrong. My mom started screaming at me, saying I was being selfish and jealous of Jenna's pregnancy, and that I needed to get over my loss and be happy for my sister. I hung up on her. Literally, I hung up the phone on my mom for the first time in my life. Jenna sent me texts all week demanding that I pay for the catering and apologize to Sophie for Ethan's post. I replied only once, telling her I wasn't going to do either of those things and that if she wanted to have a real conversation about what happened and why it was so wrong, we could talk. Until then, we had nothing to say to each other. She responded with a long message saying I was a terrible sister, that I couldn't even be happy for her for one day, and that if I was going to be like that, she wouldn't let me meet her baby when it was born. I replied, "Okay, if that's what you want, fine." And I blocked her number. My dad didn't get involved in any of this. He never gets involved in family drama. He basically lives in his own world, ignoring every conflict, which is frustrating in its own way, but at least he wasn't actively on Jenna's side like my mom. Months passed and I focused on my own pregnancy, on taking care of myself, going to all my doctor's appointments, and preparing myself mentally and emotionally for the possibility of another loss, although I tried not to dwell on that. Ethan was my rock during all that time, always there, always supporting me, always reminding me that our family was now the two of us and our future baby, and that we didn't need toxic people in our lives. Jenna had her baby, a girl, and my mom sent me photos and told me Jenna wanted me to come meet her, but that I had to apologize first. I said no. My mom started saying I was being ridiculous and taking this too far, that family is family and we should get over it. But I was just done, emotionally exhausted from the whole situation. I told her I wasn't going to apologize for defending myself from public humiliation, and that if Jenna ever wanted to have a real relationship with me, she knew where to find me. Fast forward about 4 months after the birth of the niece I had never met. I was well into my second trimester, entering my third, and everything was going great with my pregnancy. The doctor said the baby was healthy, there were no signs of complications, and I was starting to relax a little and truly believe that this time it was going to work out. Then I received a text from Jenna from a new number, since I had her blocked, saying, "Hi, I know things are weird between us, but I need to ask you a favor. I need you to watch my baby 2 days a week because I'm going back to work and daycare is so expensive. Since you work from home, I thought you could help me out. We are family after all." The audacity, you know? After months of not speaking to me, without a single word of apology, making me feel like the villain, she suddenly contacts me because she needs something. She didn't even ask how I was or try to fix things, just straight to asking me to be her free babysitter. I replied, "Jenna, I'm not going to do that. Besides, I'm pregnant and going to have my own baby soon, so I won't be available to watch yours." She replied, "Wait, you're pregnant? Why didn't you tell me?" And I was like, "Are you seriously asking me that? After how you treated me at your baby shower and everything that happened after?" She started complaining, saying I should have told her that it was important that she is my sister. I told her, "Look, you decided you didn't want me to meet your daughter unless I humiliated myself by apologizing for something I didn't do. So I decided you don't need to know about my pregnancy or my life. We stopped talking, remember?" And I blocked that number too. My mom obviously found out and called me hysterical, saying how could I be so cruel not to tell them I was pregnant, that they were my family and had a right to know, and that I was being vengeful and using my baby as a weapon against Jenna. I was so tired of it all. I told her, "Mom, you guys chose to support Jenna when she and her friend humiliated me at my most vulnerable. You made me feel like my pain didn't matter, that I should just get over it and be happy for her no matter what. And now you want me to share the good things in my life with you? Doesn't work like that. If you can't understand why what happened was so wrong and why it hurt me so much, then we have nothing more to talk about." And I blocked her too. I blocked my own mom, something I never thought I would do. My pregnancy continued without any issues, thank God. And in December of last year, my daughter was born, a beautiful and healthy baby who cries a lot, but is absolutely perfect. Ethan and I were in a bubble of overwhelming happiness, the kind you feel when you finally get something you waited so long for, and thought you might never have. We didn't tell my family when she was born, didn't alert them I was in labor, nothing. My mother-in-law was there, and some close friends visited us at home afterward, but my side of the family knew nothing. About 2 weeks after the birth, when I was feeling more recovered and adapting to life with the newborn, I decided to post a photo of my daughter on Instagram. It wasn't to rub it in their faces or to be dramatic. I simply wanted to share my happiness like any new mom. Most of my family was blocked on Facebook but not on Instagram because I hardly ever use it, so I didn't even think about it. I put up a beautiful photo of her with a simple caption. "Welcome to the world, my love. Mom and Dad waited so long for you, and you are worth every second of the wait." Then my phone exploded. Calls from numbers I didn't recognize, texts from cousins and uncles asking if it was true when it happened, why I didn't tell them. My mom managed to contact me through my mother-in-law, of all people, calling Ethan's mom to demand explanations. My mother-in-law is amazing. She basically told her that we had decided to keep the pregnancy and birth private after how I had been treated, and that she respected our decision. Finally, my dad called. Richard, who never calls, never gets involved, sounded genuinely confused and a little hurt. He said, "Madeline, is it true you had a baby and didn't tell us? Your mom is devastated, Jenna is furious, the whole family is upset. Why would you do something like that?" I explained it to him. I explained everything from the beginning. The baby shower, the humiliation, the lack of support, the demands for apologies I didn't owe, and being contacted only when they needed something. I told him, "Dad, you all made your decision to take Jenna's side regardless of how she hurt me. And I made my decision to protect myself and my new family from more harm. My daughter is not going to grow up watching her family treat her mom like that. I am not going to expose her to that toxicity." My dad was silent for a while and then said, "But we are your family. You can't just cut us off like this." I told him, "Being family doesn't give you a free pass to treat me however you want. Family should mean respect and mutual support. You guys didn't give me that when I needed it most. So now I am choosing my own family, Ethan and my daughter. And they are my priority. If at some point Jenna and Mom can recognize what they did wrong and genuinely apologize, not one of those fake "I'm sorry you feel that way" apologies, then maybe we can talk. But until then, I need you to respect my boundaries." I don't know if he really understood, but he said he would respect our decision, and since then I haven't had much contact with them. My dad sends an occasional text asking how we are, and I respond briefly, "We're fine, thanks." But we don't start conversations or share details of our life. My mom and Jenna have tried to contact me through other people, sending messages like, "We just want to meet our granddaughter. It's not fair that you're keeping her from her family," but never an "I'm sorry for how we treated you." Never a real acknowledgement that they hurt me. And the thing is, I don't feel guilty. Before, I thought maybe I was being too harsh, maybe I was exaggerating, but Ethan constantly reminds me that what they did was wrong. My therapist, yes, I went back to therapy after all this, has helped me see that setting boundaries isn't being cruel, it's taking care of myself. And when I look at my daughter, when I see her sleep or smile or just exist, I know I made the right decision to walk away from people who made me feel so small. My daughter is almost 10 months old now. She is starting to pull herself up to stand, says "Mama" and "Dada," and is basically the center of our universe. She is growing up in an environment full of love, free of toxicity, surrounded by people who genuinely love and support us. My mother-in-law adores her. Our close friends are like aunts and uncles to her, and that is enough, more than enough. She doesn't need to know people who humiliated her mom and then acted as if her mom was the problem. She doesn't need that kind of influence in her life. Sometimes I wonder if I did the right thing, if maybe I should have given them another chance. I wonder if when my daughter grows up, she is going to ask me why she doesn't know her maternal grandparents or her aunt. But then I remember that day at the baby shower. I remember feeling small and humiliated while my sister shrugged as if my pain didn't matter. I remember my mom calling me dramatic for defending myself, and I know I can't allow that energy anywhere near my daughter. I can't teach her that it's okay to let people treat you badly just because they're family. I guess this is what it feels like to grow up and set real boundaries. It hurts and it's uncomfortable, and people will try to make you feel guilty. But at the end of the day, I have to be able to look at myself in the mirror and know that I am doing the right thing for my family, for the family Ethan and I created. And that is what matters now. I am no longer living to please others or fulfill some outdated expectation of what a family is supposed to be. I am living for myself, for my husband, and for my daughter. And honestly, I have never felt more at peace. Even with all the distance and the drama, there is a kind of relief in knowing that I don't have to endure that kind of treatment ever again. I closed that door, and it's okay for it to stay closed until someone on the other side is willing to open it the right way, with respect and a genuine apology. And if that never happens, well, I guess that's just how things will be, and I am learning to be okay with that. Comment. I know stories like this can bring up a lot of emotions for many of you. What I take away from it most is the quiet strength it takes to set a boundary. It's not about punishing others. It's about honoring your need for safety and respect. You have the right to decide who gets to be part of your life and part of your peace. True connection, even with family, is built on mutual kindness and accountability. Healing isn't about forgetting the past. It's about refusing to let it define your future. You can create a new environment filled with genuine love and support. I hope this reminds you that your peace is worth protecting. Always. Remember to be gentle with yourself as you navigate your own journey. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.